My first year with the Sisters of Life has been so great and so beautiful. It's definitely a time of transition and of detachment from family and friends. But just moving to New York City, it's been so eye-opening. Just learning so much about myself and about other people. Right now, I'm a postulant, which is the first stage of formation. So I'm more focusing on taking classes than being active in an apostolate. So in the postulant house, and in all the convents really, our day is centered around prayer and around serving the Lord. Our community is a contemplative, active community. So it's important to us that the main way we build up the culture of life as Sisters of Life is by our prayer and our fasting, and that's where all of the love and all of the energy that we put into our apostolate, that's where it comes from. The Sisters of Life have the beautiful charism of life. So charism comes from a Greek word which means gift. So it has nothing to do with charisma, but it's the special gift that is given by God to every religious community and really to every human being. It's a piece of God's heart that he shares with you and only you, that is given to you to give to the world, to show the world that part of God. And so we are so blessed to have this gift of life being entrusted to us. So all religious take vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, and we take a fourth vow to protect and enhance the sacredness and the dignity of every human life. And we do that in a variety of ways through our different apostolates. One of the main ways is our special emphasis on unborn children, and especially on their mothers. So the sisters really consider ourselves the mother, that we're here to mother the mothers of the unborn. So we have some different houses in Manhattan where we walk with these pregnant women through their pregnancies, just loving them, just loving them and letting them come and live with us as our guests. We have a retreat house up in Connecticut where we have different lay people come, men and women and young and old and married couples, just to kind of fill them with the culture of life and just with the challenge to go back into the world wherever they are and to build up the culture of life. I think that having family and friends and your parish and your larger community, it really means the world to you when you're discerning. And especially now that I am in the convent, to come back and seeing people at my parish, just to have them come up to me and say, "Oh, I'm so happy you're happy." And you know, I know their face from my church, but I don't necessarily even know their name. And it's just so touching that they care that I'm happy, you know? So just that kind of support, I think it's so important when people are discerning. And especially just, we are so blessed in this diocese, especially, to have the Sisters of the Sacred Heart and the Carmelites and the Sisters at Garvey Manor. Because you can't follow a call that you don't know exists, you know? And just for me growing up here, all of those sisters have been such examples to me, and just spending time with them, it really makes it seem like when you feel that in your heart, this is a real thing I can do because I know that it exists. So even if I wasn't close with those sisters, I think just seeing them, that's a huge part of the support system.
One Lent, when I started each morning at work trying to read the Bible, I had to that point never read the Bible from front to finish. So normally I would start each morning at about 6:30 during that time in Lent, trying to focus on the Bible sequentially, working my way through. And I can remember one very early morning sitting down before I turned on my computer in my office and coming to the book of Ecclesiastes. I can remember the first time turning to it, all I read that day were the first two verses of that particular text. Vanity of vanities, the preacher says, all is vanity. And I can remember thinking, wow, that's true. And I just put the book down on my desk, and behind me in my office was a wall-to-wall window that looked down from the 20-something floor. And I can remember pushing myself out from my desk and turning around and just looking outside that window onto the city and thinking, that is true. All is vanity. Why have I been working so hard? Where is the direction of my life going? For so long, I had been very focused on my career, developing myself as a lawyer, making money, all those sorts of things. And I had never stopped to really think about what it's for. What will I regret when I'm on my deathbed? Probably 2 or 3 years later, when I was working in Washington, I can remember, and I can't remember what it was that brought me up to that particular part of the city where the Basilica of the Shrine, where the Basilica Shrine of the Immaculate Conception is located. But I can remember seeing in the pews a Dominican student brother at the time who now is a brother priest. Was a few years ahead of me there at the Mass, and my wondering what in fact he was. I had never seen a Dominican before, at least I couldn't recall having seen one, and I didn't recognize the habit. So at some point later that day or the next, I got on the internet, and I can't remember what specific search terms it was that I used, whether it was white habit friar, priest white habit, or something or other. But whatever it was brought me to the website of the Province of St. Joseph Order of Preachers, the order that I belong to now. It was through the internet that I first became introduced, if you will, to the Dominican order. And it was certainly through the internet that I first contacted Father Bill. And from there, he and I had a couple of conversations in Washington. He then put me in touch with his spiritual director, and he kind of guided me through the early part of discernment and helped me see where God was calling me to. I remember how really frightened I was, even in my 30s, to really mention the fact that I was thinking about religious life or the priesthood. Looking back at that, I do have to kind of laugh and wonder why it was. It was as if I was a teenager again. It was so hard for me to even mention to anyone in my family that I was thinking about religious life, and it was something that I had to kind of walk around in circles and work up the courage to do so. But then the reaction was always nothing but supportive. People that you don't know will often come up to you and tell you that they're praying for you. And those prayers tend to be something of great importance. You know, I think that it's through the fruit of those prayers that got me through some of the more difficult times in religious life. I think it's those kind of prayers that obtain for a young man or woman the kind of grace that is necessary at those times to see back the false temptations of your own desires.